Peace. What's happening? Prince Ash here. Another video today. I'm busy today, but that's a good thing. And let's just have a quick look here. I just want to get the exact comment. I was asked a question and I'm gonna answer it as best I can. Would love to hear more of your experiences sleeping rough. What was it really like? Sounds very tough. That's basically the question. Yeah. Sleeping rough is very painful. Physically painful because it's so cold, and spiritually and mentally painful because you feel unloved, unseen, unheard. I have a friend that went through the same thing in a different country, and he described it as being the loneliest place in the world. And until you end up in that position, it's tough to comprehend what that really means, because that's how I felt as well. I felt like so fucking lonely. I was like, fuck, I've nowhere to turn, nobody to take me in. And yeah, so let's give you some context. I was living in a sober house up until like May last summer, and I relapsed, and I was using drink and drugs, and I was using them frequently. It started off, I just took a drink, a bottle of wine or something, and I just couldn't stop once I started. It was simple as that, like, and that's the nature of my addiction. I've said it before here. Once I start, I can't stop. And I got made homeless, and I asked my mother, like, any chance she could take me in, and she was like, no way, not a chance, like, you've burned your bridges. And that started me off on sleeping rough, and the first place I thought to go was this car park in a hotel car park near to my mother's house. And I kind of set up camp there. I got a sleeping bag. I went to local services. There was a day centre that you can attend if you're homeless, so I went there. They gave me a sleeping bag and stuff, and I got a mat to put underneath the sleeping bag. And this is Ireland, like, so it does get cold, like, even in summer. It's no joke. Like, obviously winter is horrific here. I don't know how homeless people survive winter in Ireland. I've slept rough a few nights here and there in winter in Ireland, but yeah, I was fortunate to survive. Like, but I set up shop in this car park. It was the emergency exit to a car park, and nobody ever went there. And I kind of knew no one ever went there because I used to go there when I was a teenager and have a drink or a smoke or whatever with a few friends and stuff, and it's always been like that. So for a bit of context as well, I was mainly addicted to alcohol, but I was addicted to drugs too as a teenager. That's where it started off. That might be a separate video in itself, but yeah, I'm trying to answer your question as best I can here. What was it really like? It was a really painful place to be in because my family weren't talking to me, and that made me feel shit, and I felt truly hopeless. I felt like I had tried so many times to get sober and I had failed again. And my motto was like, I'm just going to ride this out. I had suicidal ideations a lot of the time, but I just said, I'm going to stick it out and see what happens. Uh, it's a better option than dying at that point in time. Um, and like anytime like my mother's friends would ring me and be like, John, go to rehab. Come on, this is enough now. Just go to rehab. And like the rehab they wanted me to go to is a free rehab in Ireland. It's not exactly free, but they set you up on social welfare and they take money out of your social welfare. It's pretty much free anyway. Um, and it's not a 12-step institution. It's they have their own philosophy and stuff, and it like just wasn't going to solve any problems for me, and I knew that, so I said I have to just stick around, keep going to the day centre, and hope that the day centre would, um, you know, get me emergency accommodation. And at the day centre, you can get fed and stuff, and met several people in the day centre, and yeah, everyone was not everyone, but a lot of them had addiction issues and stuff, and like myself, I was up close and personal with addiction, like. And like I remember nights when it was raining and stuff, and uh, I always made sure I had drink or drugs, like a bottle of wine or a bottle of vodka or a couple of joints or something, and like there was a false sense of like freedom as well in it. Like I was like, yeah, no one's telling me what to do. I'm doing what I want, and I could numb the pain with the drink and drugs, and it would work for a short while, and I'd be like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, fucking nobody owns me. I'm not a fucking slave. But I was to addiction, you know, and it was gonna kill me sooner or later, probably sooner, and like I remember waking up in my sleeping bag, being woken up shivering, and uh, just the first thing I do is just look all around me. Is there a bit of a bottle left? Is there a bit of a joint on the floor, a roach or something I can smoke? Are there any tablets left around the place? Where's my medication? Should I take some of that? And it addiction just took over my life completely, and it took everything from me. Took my friends, my family, my home, my money, my sanity. I got psychosis, and having psychotic episodes while you're homeless is horrible too. It's just really depressing, and it just like I'd hear voices shouting at me, "You stupid fucking retard, you stupid fucking bastard," and I'd just be sitting there staring into the distance, like, how the fuck did life come to this, you know? And yeah, pretty much every night I slept in that car park, and one night, one of the lads from the day centre was like, I have a couple of tents up the way, like, uh, you can stay in one of them if you want tonight, like, he felt bad for me, so I went with him, and I got kind of nervous on the way. I was like, what if I'm being lured there, or led to my death there? I was a bit paranoid, like, and uh, yeah, I won't go into the details too much. I won't go into that story today, like, but it was nice to have somewhere to sleep that night anyway, even though there was one kind of incident that happened, but I won't speak about that now. Um, and yeah, I felt absolutely useless. I felt like a failure. Uh, it's a cliche thing, but all I could think about was the next drink and where it was coming from. And like, that's just the truth of it. Like, fucking. Uh, I may or may not have committed some petty crimes at that time as well. Uh, just out of stupidity, not even out of desperation, just stupidity. I was drunk and followed the crowd pretty much. Uh, and yeah, it's an interesting one to think about all of this. Yeah, I was in such a fear of people as well, of people in my city, like old friends, whether they'd see me and in town and stuff. And uh, there was one incident as well. I was in the middle of the town with a few of the people from the day centre, and we were just sitting around, and I was trying to get sober at the time because I realized getting sober was like the only way out of this situation. I I had a game changer where I sat down in the day centre, and an addiction counsellor came to the day centre, and they were like, John, do you want to speak to the addiction counsellor? And I was like, yeah, why not? And we sat down, and within 5 minutes it was just glaringly obvious that I had a drink and drug problem, and I was in denial. And that's when I said, fuck it. That was rock bottom for me. I was sitting there, long nails with black dirt under them, long hair, scruffy beard. It's scruffy at the minute, but it was worse back then. And I was literally saying to the addiction counsellor for the first 5 minutes, I was like, I don't really have a problem. Other people have a problem with me. And I was saying, like, yeah, it's just my family that has an issue with it. I think my drinking is okay. And she just said, I'd be more inclined to think your problem is a 10 out of 10, John. And in that moment, I just kind of saw reality, and I literally just agreed with her. I just said, yeah. I admitted defeat. And in admitting defeat, I was trudging the road to happy destiny. I wouldn't say to victory, but to happy destiny. By surrendering. And that was the first step, really. Obviously, I've not done all the steps, but I'm doing some of the steps as we speak. And I've had to redo step 1 and whatever. But metaphorically, that was the first step to getting sober. But anyway, so I was trying to get sober and stuff, and for whatever reason, I was palling around with a few of these other homeless people in town, and 2 of them came running over in the middle of town, and they were like, well, what's happening? And we were like, all right, what's the crack? And one of the lads was just like, yeah, this fella ripped us off for weed. He took €50 off us. He didn't get us the weed. And I'm going giving him the best buck 50 ever. He's getting a 50 straight across his face. I don't care if I get my 5 years in Castlereagh. I'll do it standing on my head. And I was like, fuck this. I'm not fucking listening to this bollocks, man. And I walked off. And right in that moment, I bumped into my sponsor. He wasn't my sponsor at the time. He was a friend, and obviously still a friend. But it was crazy how I made one right choice, and it was like I was instantly rewarded. And I met my friend and he was like, come on, do you want to come to a meeting? And I was like, yeah, I definitely fucking need one now. Like, went to the meeting, shared a bit about what was going on with me, and that was literally the early days of sobriety. Uh, I know I'm digressing from what it was like to be homeless, but that's just some of my experience. Like, and uh, yeah, I guess it's one of those higher power moments. Like, it was a spiritual moment anyway. Uh, yeah, it's interesting in retrospect. Like, maybe someone was looking out for me. Maybe God was looking out for me. And that friend uh, drove me back to my hometown village, Salt Hill, after, and he was like, uh, yeah, my dad can make up a bed for you if you want, like, and you can stay for tonight or a couple of days if you need to get on your feet and stuff. And I said, oh no, I actually have somewhere to go tonight. I've a bed sorted, so I'm grand. And I was lying. I knew where I was going that night, but I just felt like it wouldn't have been right to do that. And I feel like it might have caused conflict if that happened, or it just didn't sit right with me. And I went back to the car park that night, and I was just depressed, and it was on my mind. I was like, I should have just taken the fucking bed. What am I doing? What the fuck was even the point? And yeah, during the day, sometimes the day center closed early, and I'd just walk loops and loops around the city to the point where I got a massive blister on, I think, both of my feet, but certainly one of my feet. And fucking it got infected, and I started feeling pains going up my leg and stuff, and I booked into the doctor the following day, and she put me on antibiotics, and it cleared up pretty quick. But that's the time when, like, got trench foot out there, and it could have been a hell of a lot worse. If I didn't go to the doctor, who knows what would have happened. But I knew to go to the doctor straight away, like. And yeah, I just felt like the unluckiest man in the world, or my luck was down. And I was still attending therapy every week though while this was going on. That's one thing that was like non-negotiable with me. I just said, fuck it, I'm going to therapy. Uh, and maybe that's the reason I got through that period. Like, that's only just dawning on me now, that like maybe just having that place to go and talk every week saved me. Like, um, yeah, I had a little power bank as well that I'd charge up in the day center during the day, and I'd have my phone plugged into it at night in my car park bed. We'll call it that, I suppose, and listen to music. And I tried to write music, but I was on drinking drugs, so I was just writing bollocks that wasn't really worth anything. Uh, I did a bit of vlogging and live streaming at the time as well, which didn't sit well with family and friends because I was just really unwell and posting shit online. And yeah, people were worried about me, like, and yeah, I had resentments. I felt anger towards my family, and anger at myself, and anger at God, and anger at the program, and anger at everyone, really. And I didn't really express it very much, but I felt that, and yeah, it was just tough, tough. So it was, and it's a far cry from where I am today. Thank God. Um, and it's a part of my life that makes me feel sick to my stomach. Like, how did I do that? How did I go through that? How did I put myself through that? How did I? That wasn't normal. And how the fuck did I even end up in that situation? Or how did I not know better than to stay sober? And how did I not know better than to not drink? Like, you know what I mean? I think I phrased that wrong, but you get the point. How did I not know better? And yeah, anyway, it's like, it's not something I ever want to go back to. It's not something I like ever want to put myself through it again. And I just feel like I wouldn't survive it if it happened again. And I'm not taking that risk. And I know that's where like it's gonna end up, chasing the obsession to the gates of insanity and death. That's my destiny in addiction. I already chased it to the gates of insanity. The next is death. You know, I lost my mind. Got it back, thank God. And the obsession of the alcoholic is one day thinking he'll be able to drink normally again. Not even again, but drink normally, or drink like everyone else, or drink with no consequences, or enjoy his drinking. That's the obsession. And I pursued that obsession to extreme lengths that cost me everything in my life. Everything worthwhile in my life just went to shit because of it. And yeah, it's a grim story, really. There's probably a lot of shit I'm forgetting and stuff, so I might make a part 2 at some point, but I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I hope this answers your question. Stall the ball. Let me get your name. Lion Bar Lover. Peace, man. Thanks for the question. I had a good time and a good experience answering your question, and yeah, it helped me understand things a little better. And I have this video to look back on and kind of make sense of things. And yeah, Lion Bar Lover, peace. And everyone else who's watching, peace. Have a good one, Prince Ash.